if we go to 128 for this will crash my Blender now. Fire and smoke simulation are pretty simple to do in Blender, and in this tutorial we will learn how to create this. So first thing that I did, I recorded a footage of myself pretending to light up the match, because later in Blender we will add the fire and the smoke. And you can download this footage from my Patreon if you want to follow this along with the same footage. The link is down there in the description. And also I took a photo of the matchbox on the table. Also you can download this photo with the footage. And I used that photo to match my real camera with the camera in Blender using the Fspy, a free software that I will leave the link down there in the description if you want to download it. And on that link you can find how to install it and how to use it. And then when I matched everything in Fspy, I exported and set up the camera in Blender. Now that I set up my camera in Blender, I added a cube and changed the shape, size and orientation of the cube to match the matchbox, because I needed only one side of that matchbox in order to later easier animate my sphere that you will see in a moment. It's not necessary, you can animate it without that step, but for me this is really cool way to do everything properly. Then I added the sphere. I made the sphere a little bit smaller and then I applied the scale. This is really important. And you can see now the sphere is not perpendicular to this plane, to the side of the matchbox, and the orientation of the sphere is not the same. So there is a cool trick. Select the plane, press tab to go to the edit view, go to the polygons here and make sure that this polygon is selected. Then go to here to transform orientation, flow global. We need to go here to the plus and it will add this face orientation here. This is perfect. We want to go back from the edit view, and now if we select our sphere, go to the object, transform and align to transform orientation to face, it will perfectly align it and it will be perpendicular to this plane. So now if I press G and X twice, actually once, G and X, it will go to the X, Y, it will go to move along the Y-axis. So if I press G and Shift Z, it will move along this plane, and this is exactly what we want. So this is how you can set up different orientations in Blender pretty much easily. Okay, now that I set this up, I can hide our plane, and now I will animate quickly this sphere to follow the top of the match. And for that, I'm just moving the sphere along the X and Y axis and press I on a keyboard in order to insert keyframes. And when I finish with that, this is how this looks. You can see the sphere is now following the top of this match, and this is what we want. Okay, now let me show you quickly the basic principles of making fire and smoke in Blender. Trust me, it's really easy. What you need to do is to choose the object from which you want to emit the fire or smoke. So I will delete the cube and I will go with the UV sphere. By the way, you can choose any object that you want. Now, while the object is selected, go to the object, quick effects and quick smoke, and that's it, you're done. If you press play, you can see we have a beautiful smoke that is emitting from the sphere, and it's going all the way to the top of this container. This container is called smoke domain. And if I expand this smoke domain and move it up a little bit, you will see the smoke will again go up until it reaches the top of this domain, and it will stop there, but it will still emitting from our sphere. All right, so basic principles is that this domain has a resolution. This cube right there, if I go like this cube is the resolution. You can see this is the size of the cube. If we go to physics tab here, you can see the resolution. If we move this a little bit, resolution division is 32. If you crank it up to 64, you will have higher resolution, smaller cube, and the effect will be better, but it will be heavier for your computer. So make sure not to overdo it, because your computer will freeze, the Blender will freeze and will crash, and you will lose your work in case you didn't save it. So make sure to have that in mind. This is much better than 32, but if we go to 128 and press enter, you will see now the resolution is even smaller, you can see, and this is even better. And if I press play now, hopefully this will not crash, because in the same time I'm recording the screen and doing this, and yeah, it's pretty heavy for my computer, but the You can see I'm barely rotating the scene. This is how it looks. It's much better than 32 and 64. All right, I will stop this. You got a point. And I will go with 32 until I'm happy with the results, and then I will crank it up for rendering. So this is the smoke. If you want fire, click on the emitter object, to the sphere in this case, and from flow type, go to fire, right? And this is how it looks. Looks really cool. We have the fire and the smoke, and it's cool. If you want to emphasize the smoke even more, to make like an explosion, go with fire plus smoke, and this is how this looks. So let's crank this up to 64. This is okay currently for my setup, and you can see this is beautiful. You can make a lot of cool things with this. All right, these are the basic principles. Now we have some settings here that we can change later. We can add a noise, and the noise will make the fire even more organic, and the smoke, etc. And we can play with noise settings and so on and so forth. And also we can do some more things here and there, but this is how simple and easy it is to create smoke or fire plus smoke in Blender. Now let's go back to our scene, and you're probably guessing what we will do. We will select our sphere, that is a match top, and we'll go to the object, quick effects, quick smoke, and voila, we have the quick smoke here. If I press play, you will see the smoke will follow the sphere that is following the match. Okay, now I just need to move the container, this emitter, a little bit here. So let's see if I press play again from the beginning. I just want to make sure that the smoke is following everything until the end of the frame. Yes, perfect. Okay, now we will do some tweakings here to make this even more believable. So first what we will do, we will go and select domain, go to the physics and find the adaptive domain. That means the domain will automatically adapt its size. When it's necessary it will be bigger, and when it's necessary it will be smaller, and so on and so forth. So this is much better, and this is what I will do. Perfect. Now let's go back to our sphere, and from smoke go to fire. So let's just go with the fire, press play, and you will see we have our beautiful fire. By the way, the fire is very big, and this is because the resolution is low. You will see if we press the domain, the resolution is only 32. If we go with 128, you will see the fire is smaller and much more believable. But we will now leave on 32 or 64 just for demonstration purposes and for tweaking purposes, and then we will render it out with probably 256. So this is how the fire looks. If we go with fire and smoke, let's go back. Now we have both fire and the smoke, so probably we can stick with that. Okay, so now we are in the viewport shading here, and this is the preview of that. If you go to the render view, we cannot see anything because we don't have a material for the fire and the smoke, so we need to fix that. First of all, I will go to the render, from EV to cycles, from CPU to GPU, and I will go with 128 for the preview here, and I will denoise it, and this is my setup. Now if I go and split our screens like that and go from 3D viewport to shader editor and select domain, you will see this is already preset for us, the principal volume, and now we need to add a few more nodes. So Shift A and press V, and here it is, volume info. This is the node that we need to add. We want to connect density to density. This will control the density of our smoke. We want to go with a flame to emission strength and with a flame to emission color. And then Shift A and add matte node. With this node, we will actually control the strength and the density of the smoke. You can see here, the smoke is getting less or more dense. Okay, you will see that later even better. All right, then we will go with Shift A, another math node, and this one will be right there, and it will control the practically emission strength of the fire. Perfect. And then let's go with color ramp. Okay, and the color ramp will connect here from flame through color ramp to emission color. And now we will colorize our smoke. So first I will go move the black right here and add, click on the white, add 1, 2, 3, 4 maybe. We will see, maybe more, maybe 4 at least. And now I will colorize this. So click on this one. I will go something red, darker red, perfect. Then this one, a little bit more orange, like that. Then this one, yellow, not green, but something like yellow. And this one like a bright yellow, like that. And let's see, this looks cool. Now we can play with some effects here and there, with the smoke density, with the brightness of this, and we can change the position of this. All right, so I think this looks cool. If we now render out this not shift, but F12, you can see how this looks. And yeah, this is really nice. If we add, let me show the density of the smoke. Let's go to the second slot. If we make the smoke much denser, it will be like that. We'll have a crazy amount of smoke. So something like that. This is what our density is doing. And let's go with density even lower, something like that. And let's go and press play. And we have here our smoke, our fire, and our animation is really cool. Okay, now another thing that I like to do is to go to the physics tab here, and I want to go to this sphere, the emitter of fire, and let's change a few things. First, let's go to the first frame here, and I want the fuel. I want to start with 0 fuel. That means that if I press play, we'll see nothing is emitting, only smoke. Fire doesn't have a fuel, so I will go with 0, and I will go with 0 until 30, something like that. 0. Let's set a keyframe here, and then somewhere here I will go to 0.5, another keyframe, and somewhere here to 1. Okay, let's see how this looks. Let's go back, press play, and it will start. The flame is brighter and brighter and brighter. Perfect. This is what I want. Okay, that's one thing. And another thing is this flow source. And I want the surface emission again to be something around here, 0.2 probably. Experiment with this and see what works best for you. And maybe here is 0.5, and maybe here is 1.5. You can see this surface emission controls the emission from the mesh surface. Higher value results in emission further away from the mesh surface. So I want to control the emission of that. So let's go back and let's see how this looks. Really nice. Not too much of the fire, and then the fire becomes brighter, and that's cool. Okay, so now let's see. Surface emission is 0.5, and here I want 1.5. So this is it, and let's test our simulation here. So it starts burning, and then even brighter and brighter and brighter. Okay, let's see. 0. Maybe here still 0.8, like that. So this is now trial and error, tweaking things how we like to be, but these are the settings that I like to tweak. And yeah, I think this is cool. And another thing that I like to do is, let me just check. Go to the render, go to the motion blur. I want to check the motion blur, and also film and transparent. I want to render this on transparent background like that, and I don't want to render the match top, so I will just exclude it from render. Also I can exclude it from viewport, And if I now press play, let's see how this looks for a moment. Yeah, I really like it. Let's go back to the beginning. Also, let's go to the domain here, go to the physics, and let's see what we can do here. So we need to bake everything. I will go to all, but before I go to all and press bake, I want this to bake on 256. So 256. All right. And I will press bake now. Make sure to save your file, and it will bake in this subfolder where your file is saved. And press bake, go take a coffee, walk around. This will take for a moment or more, and then when it's finished, I will show you the final result. And another thing before I press bake, what I will do, I will bake and then I will render it out. So imagine that this is already baked. I will go here to the render settings, and I don't want to render it as PNG. I want to render it as OpenEXR. This is how I like to do it. I like to go to half of the color depth, DWAA lossy codec, and I will leave everything as default. So this is it. I will now bake, and then I will go render and render animation and come back with the final result. Okay, so everything is done. I'm here in DaVinci Resolve. This is the software that I like to use for compositing and for video editing. So I will go here and set this to be 25 frames per second, because this is how I record the video footage. So I will bring our video footage right there, right? This is the video footage. And now I will go and select all of my sequences here, EXR sequence, just drag and drop here, and it will make a video out of it. So put it right there, and this is how it looks. So yeah, it's igniting it, and voila, perfect. What I did here, I rendered several different sequences. I changed the settings in Blender just to make a little bit more fuel, less fuel, and so on and so forth, and made several different EXR sequences. So this one, let me show you if I hide this one is a little bit different, and so on and so forth. So what I like to do with EXR sequences, and why I like to use it, because they contain much more information. I can make it brighter, darker, without losing too much detail. So let me show you. If I render out as a PNG sequence, I baked everything into that. It's same like RAW and JPEG files in photography. So what I like to do, I like to go to the Fusion, and here I like to press Shift Tab, OCO color space, and I like to go here to find the file configuration. So I will go to Browse, and it's program files, Blender Foundation, the current version of the Blender, data files, color management, and this is the file. I will go right there. I will choose color space, linear rec 709, and auto space sRGB, and you will see, if I go here, you will see, if I go back, undo from this to this, or I can go like before and after. And now if I go back, let's copy this node. If I go back here to the edit, you can see how this looks. This is really, really nice. And also I can go with this one and put one at the top of another, or maybe this one right there. Let's see what is better. And this is what I got as a final result. And now by adding a little bit of sound effects and music, we got this result. By the way, if you want to learn how to 3D track your video footage in order to implement some 3D objects into your video to create some cool VFX, check out this video right here. See you there. Bye bye.